Hi everyone, my name is Sylvia McFadden, and this is the first episode of the Wrong Side podcast. Good name, hey? Came up with that name myself, mostly because I always have to be like, what side is this when I'm knitting? It's a problem I don't think many people have, but it's definitely one that comes up all the time with me. Like, for example, I put the sweater on today and I was like, is that the right side? About 10 times before I realized it was indeed the right side, and I had correctly put on a garment, which I have been doing since I was a child. Great. Welcome. I have wanted to put a podcast together for a while, and I love the video podcast or vodcast format. I've just recently started watching them fairly regularly while I knit. Just gonna scooch that out of the way. Great. So I thought I'd try it. Okay, so I'm Sylvia McFadden. You can find me on social media as Soft Sweater. My website is softsweaterknits.com, and I am a designer as well as just a person, a human being. And I design primarily shawls, but I'm starting to move into sweater design, which I'm quite happy about, and I think I'll be talking about a lot this episode. Yeah. I should get started. Knit City was 2 weekends ago. Knit City is a big fiber event in Vancouver, BC, which is where I live. And it's actually in East Van, so it's really close to my house. And all of these amazing dyers, designers, knitting personality people come, and they vend and teach and talk to each other, and we all go over our yarn budgets for the year. It's pretty lovely. So this year I picked up just an obscene amount of stash, like so much so I felt uncomfortable sharing just how much yarn I had bought at Knit City on my social media. So we're just going to do a little selection of it right now so that I don't feel quite so horrendously guilty. So guilty. But I'm sure that more of it will be popping up if I continue to do this podcast. Popping up here or there as starting projects and things like that. Oops, and I forgot to move some of it out of bags, so we're going to leave that stuff for later. So the bit that I'm going to talk about today, so we'll call this like the stash part of the podcast. The part I'm going to talk about right now is the lichen and lace. And oh my god, there's so much of it. So I went and I bought 10 skeins of yarn, and then I went away and I realized that I needed probably about 10 skeins more, and then at some point I realized that I had probably figured out a way to get 8 more skeins out of that. So, and then I bought more. I bought more later at one of the local yarn stores here, because I seriously can't stop myself. I have very low impulse control. Well, at Knit City I have very low impulse control. Okay, so I'm going to start off with these 3. And this is our single ply base, and I hope that the lighting, this is what all podcasters do. They're like, oh, it looks different. It's slightly different. You guys have to trust me. I'm going to touch the screen. Oh god. Hello. It's pink. Woo! There you go. Oh my god. We're going to cut this part out. Or not, because it's hilarious. Okay. You got this little tiny screen. There we go. Okay, so pink. This one is orchid, sweet pea, and clover, and they are so perfect together. I'm sure that they were meant to be together when she dyed them, but there's just the 3 of them. So I'm going to stripe something with mostly the white, and then striping a little bit of whatever those 2 slightly different pinks are. But I had something designed, and maybe I'll find it. Oh, bear with the crinkling. Woo! I had sort of invented a shape, which I'm only going to show a little tiny bit of here. In fact, I'm not even going to show you the major amount of it. But I was, woo! But you can see, I actually decided to do, I have a skein of orchid and a skein of clover that were just like left over from another project. So I just started to do like a little striping thing to see if I liked the way it looked. I'm not sure about this as like a shape that will eventually turn into something. It didn't quite work out how I want, but I have a couple more tweaks that might happen to make it so that it works. Here I am looking at it without you guys seeing it. Oh, it's down here looking all, well, mushed up actually. So yeah, so that stuff is beyond lovely. I'm kind of obsessed. I bought a lot. she has these wonderful one-of-a-kind skeins that I think she dyes up. I'm not sure exactly, but they're beautiful. So this one's called One of a Kind. I think it looks very chestnutty for me, and then I paired it with a nutmeg. They're looking real similar. I'm starting to see a theme. They're not similar though in real life. They are. They're tonally similar, but this one's got a lot more like lights and darks, and it's a little bit less warm, but they look incredible together. My plan is to put those two together. Am I really gonna go through all of this? Oh my God. Is this what podcasters do? Guys, give me feedback. This one, it's incredible. Faded Rose. I was half thinking about putting that one with something. Was it nutmeg? Oh yeah, look at that. So perfect. Everything's a little bit more orange on the screen. As a photographer, I'm finding that a little bit annoying, but I'm not technically adept enough to fix it at this moment. And of course, I came home with just a mountain of her new rustic heathered sport. So shawl's worth of pollen. I got 2 skeins of coal. They're just 2 because I used one already. 3 skeins of ash. I'm obsessed. Shawl's worth. Honestly, it could end up a sweater because there's enough here just in combined to do a sweater. Some ginger. I actually have a plan for this stuff already. Oh God, I hope this sounds not totally ridiculous. Just me like throwing yarn like, wah! Anyway, this stuff, I have a plan for it already. And I love it. I don't know. I have more projects planned right now than I have time in my entire life to knit them. So bear with me, everybody. My track record for getting things done in like a timely manner is not great. So, one skein of rose. I love it so much. It's perfect. It's perfect in every way. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so that was fun. There's more. I'll just touch them while I'm talking. So, so I went home after Knit City with more stash than I could even justify to anybody. But luckily no one's asked me to justify it, because if they did, I'd just stare at them and probably drool a little. I went and I planned out a whole bunch of projects. And again, I have no idea how long they're going to take, but I'm excited about them, which is really nice. And the stuff that I have been knitting, maybe we'll switch over to the like have knit section of things. Pretend there's a graphic here. I've been working a lot on sweaters. I've been working a lot on a design that has actually been done for just almost a year, probably 2 actually. But learning sweater design is a lot more complicated. You know what? It's not more complicated than I thought. It's just that I'm about midway through learning all of the ins and outs of grading and sizing. And honestly, I have a tech editor who is doing the majority of the grading work for me right now. She's holding my hand in a big way because I just have no idea what I'm doing for the most part. I can design it. I know how the sweater construction and design works, but the idea of applying something to my model size, which is usually, I think Nicola's like a 32 or a 34. So applying that to someone like me, who I think my size is like 57 or 58 inch bust, and then grading up to fit oversized on someone that size or that shape. Anyway, it's a lot to think about. I can't say, I think I will be good at it. I did a huge learning curve working on the lovable sweater. That was a big project. It took a long time, and although I understand how the grading worked and I had it explained to me the entire time and why the decisions were made in certain ways, it was a lot to take on. So I decided to design something a lot more simple for my next project. Plus, I've been really loving oversized sweaters, and so this is not gonna look oversized. It's because it's tiny, little Nicola sized. Oh, look how cute it is. Where it is like a tube top. It's so this is just a very simple bottom up hang out at the party crop top. It's supposed to go over a linen dress, which is a lot of my designs right now are going to be cropped because I wear a lot of dresses and I really love photographing Nicola in linen dresses. So this one was meant to be, or to be honest, or high-waisted jeans. They fit really well on both. They look really good. So this one's technically almost done. With this gauge, we have a pattern. I'm just gonna start saying we because, and I will mention my tech editor is helping me do this, named April Ridgway, and her Instagram is New Growth Knits, and she's wonderful. So I'm saying we because she's doing a lot of the grading on this, all of the grading on this. But so we've finished the pattern mostly with this gauge, with this, construction, everything about it. But then I started knitting, and it was one of those, like, I'm just gonna knit it and I'm not gonna worry too much about the gauge. But I started knitting basically the same exact construction. Oh geez, that's rough. Okay. I did weave my ends in. That's the worst part, is I usually have an excuse because I didn't do it, but I did it. So this is the same construction. It's a much bigger gauge. I think I knit this one, you know what, don't quote me on this, but no, I'm not even going to pretend I can't remember. It's on the pattern, which will be coming out eventually. I'll let you know. This one's it's supposed to have a loose gauge. It's not too loose though, but it's nice enough that you can, if you have like a tank top underneath, you can still see the shape of the tank top underneath, which was the idea. And then I went and I just I roughly calculated the size that I wanted from a little gauge swatch that I did. That I blocked the hell out of, which I will probably get into at some point, but swatches and sweaters and all that chaos. Yeah, so this one is the same exact construction, but it's a Sylvia size and it's a different gauge. And then I became obsessed. This one took me like 5 days to knit. I think it was actually 3 days, but I didn't want to say 3 days because it's like ridiculous amount of knitting, and like I don't think people should do that because you'll damage your precious hands. But yeah, so then that was great, and then I did another one, which is a little bit rougher. This yarn, which will remain nameless, I'm not crazy about. I like really didn't like how it worked up, and it looks rough almost immediately, which is okay. It's got that like fluffy sweater look. It's not bad. But again, I kind of wanted a loose gauge. Here, I'm gonna try it on. Put it on over my sweater. Why not? Oh god, it was too hot to begin with. So almost exact size and gauge, except for I like screwed some stuff up. So we'll call that like design features. I decided to make the neck like a little bit bigger than the other one, and the arms ended up being a little bit larger, which I'm not crazy about. I think it was due to a miscalculation of something. There is a small chance that I will rip them out and do new ones. Oh god, dying of too hot. Okay, so yeah, so this sweater, it's the same construction for all sizes, and I actually have, because I'm now knitting sweaters for yourself it's like a club that I missed out on. The first sweater that I ever knit for myself didn't fit because I didn't understand gauge. It was by no fault of the designer. It was straight like, Sylvie doesn't know what she's doing. And I just I didn't give up, but I stopped. I totally stopped with the idea that there was something I was doing wrong that I didn't fully understand, because then if I ever gauge swatch for a sweater in the future after that, I never got gauge. The times that I did get gauge, the sweaters that I knit never came out the way that they were supposed to as well. Partly this is attributed to the fact that my stitch gauge is really loose. So there's like stitch gauge and there's real gauge, and when I'm knitting in stockinette, my stitch gauge, here, I'm going to try and show you, it just pulls apart. And this is because I knit continental, and the way that I knit and the type of needles that I knit are very loose, and I'm very fast. My stitches pull apart. My row gauge is a little bit normal. This is a pretty loose gauge thing, but my row gauge is pretty normal. So I've had to do some fixes to knit sweaters, other people's sweaters that are designed for people my size. Like I have to use wooden needles. I think that's been mostly the fix that I've been doing. I decided that I would work. God, I'm talking fast. I should have worn foundation too. I'm getting rosy. Nice. Another thing that I've done to fix gauge issues on my part is to knit sweaters side by side. Because my row gauge is more predictable than my stitch gauge, it means that it's more predictable. Whatever. It sort of makes rough sense to me. But also my lace gauge is on point. So lace sweaters work really well for me, which is why the Lovable sweater was actually the first one I designed. Probably not the best first design to have graded, just because all over lace is a pain in the butt. But again, my lace gauge is very predictable. And people seem to be able to match my lace gauge better than, well, I won't say better than stockinette, but it's just workarounds. So I have another sweater, this exact one basically, but in an even bigger gauge that I'm going to do. Oh, and this is Malabrigo, or oh god, not Malabrigo. Oh, Melissa, forgive me, Sweet Fiber. Sweet Fiber held double. It is my favorite colorway by her, charcoal. I have hopefully a couple more of these done, just because I wear them so much. I want to do one in her Inez red. I've been dreaming about that because I don't wear a lot of color, but I do love that red. Okay, I've got some of this one, which is also Sweet Fiber, and it is Moonstone, I think. And this was left over from a sweater project that didn't end up working out. You guys may have seen some clips on Instagram of it. It was a very loose gauge water stitch pattern, and I just kept having problems with designing it so that it could be graded up. I could fix the things that were coming up on the size that I was working, but the more sizes that I added in, the more difficult it became, and there were a lot of like little fixes on each one, so I'm gonna table it for now. That pattern still may come to life at some point, but in a different way. Might end up with not lace all over or something like that, but this yarn is beautiful. Everything Melissa does, Sweet Fiber does. It just glows with like a really, really beautiful light. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm going to cast that one on like in the next couple days, and it's going to have giant needles. And I don't wear a lot of blue, but blue wall, I figure I'll at least get some cute photos with it. It doesn't really look that blue it is blue, not gray. Okay, I'll take a break. I will drink from my favorite mug of all time. I don't know if that's going to fix. It's upside down for me now because I'm shooting. How are you? Haven't seen you in ages. I wish you could respond. It'd be a lot easier. You'll just have to type it down on the texts. Okay. What else do I have? I guess I could sneak a sweater that has just been sent to grading. Just this very first tech edit. I actually posted a photo of this on Instagram a little while ago, but I was hoping everyone had forgotten about it. Because me and my track record for getting things done on time. What was that? All over lace sweater? What? Side to side? Not dolman sleeve though. I wanted it to be a tight fitting sleeve. But you cast on one side seamlessly. You do actually technically have to seam something up, but you don't have to knit anything separate. So it's all in one piece. And then you cast off on the other side. Ooh. It's like that dog challenge where I like disappear after. Anyway, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. This one's named, it's going to be called Baleen because of how much those twisted things look like baleen to me from Wales. Here, I've got better. Ooh. Anyway, this one I'm quite happy with. It looks really lovely on everyone I've had it on. It's quite oversized, so I have it modeled on folks who are a lot bustier than my models usually are. It looks really nice. It kind of cascades off the bust. It's very flattering. Yeah, I really like it. Please don't judge me for how long it takes me to get things out into the world. It'll be a little while still. I have a plan to hopefully release it next year, so you can wait till after Christmas. If it's done before Christmas, I will let you know, and it'll be wonderful because it's been a long time. I have a photo of Nicola modeling, well, not modeling this, she came over to my Christmas party last year, and I had it half knit, but I was almost done, like, because I'm a quick knitter, And she's like in the bathroom with it like on one side. She's smiling at me. And so it's been a year. It's been done for almost a year. Yeah. I didn't really bring anything else to look at other than, oh god, more lichen and lace. Just a bag. This is going to be a project. Here, I'll show you this one. Nice. So far it's nothing, but it's adorable. Tiny garter thing. It's really lovely. Oh, and these are these great little ash tree stitch markers that I got. The woman who does them, Ashley, came up and just gave me some at Knit City, and then I went and bought some later, but they're real pretty. They're like jewelry. It's like probably my favorite thing when stitch markers look like jewelry. But that's going to be a shawl, and it'll be done soon probably. But yeah, who knows how long it will take me to actually. So what did we learn today, kids? Sylvia's super unreliable with timelines. Yeah, super unreliable. Is that it? Is that all I got? Oh, I was gonna do what I'm reading. I should have taken notes beforehand. I just decided one thing that I found really beneficial to my mental health is to read and quiet my mind. And like in whatever that means, like it doesn't have to be like I'm gonna meditate right now. It's like just to notice how much my brain works all the time without me realizing it, like planning things and figuring things out and worrying about things. So one of the things that I decided to do is I buy a lot of books, but I don't get around to them very much. So I decided to start reading some books. And I will show you the one that I'm reading right now. It's called Samhain, and it is by, well, it's Llewellyn. Honestly, I don't know what her first name is. It's not on here. Llewellyn does everything witchy. She does the Witch's Almanac and the Witch's, she doesn't have a first name. Or maybe that is her first name. Twist. Yeah. So anyway, this one's called Rituals, Samhain, Rituals, Recipes, and Lore for Halloween. And as we're getting closer to Samhain and Halloween, I just really wanted to know more about the history behind it. I really have always been drawn to fall and autumn and Halloween, although not so much the like candy part of it. I just really loved how excited everyone gets. You can really feel it in the air when you're out. The energy of, you know, a Friday night Halloween is really exciting to me. So yeah, I just wanted to learn a little bit more about it. I can't say much. I'm only this far through, like 24 pages through. I kind of pick through books in a weird way. Like I'll skip sections and read more sections, and it's a very attention deficit style way of doing things. But and then I picked up this book again, and I've read this book before. But shit's been hard. You know, you got to go back to the same things that you love. So this is the Lao Tzu Tao Te Ching, which is a traditional sort of, getting a leg cramp. Traditional sort of, it's a Taoist sort of guidebook. I think that in the original translation it spoke a lot of God, but Ursula K. Le Guin translated it. And she is a feminist sci-fi writer, magic lady. And so it's translated in a way that really resonates with me. I actually found the name of my publishing company from this book. I won't dig through to find the poem, but you can, if you pick one up, you can take a look. It's wonderful. She kind of translates, you know, capital G God into what she calls the way. And it's sort of like everyone's path to the life that they want or the support that they need. So it's just a cool kind of reimagining and interpretation of God, which I don't ever want to say that people who believe in God are like, I really truly don't see better or worse in any of those ways, but it's nice to have it in a way that you can really articulate to anybody. It doesn't exclude folks who don't believe in God because it's talking about the way. And then it's really easy to get that spirituality from it and that purposefulness of God in there as well. So it is a very, very good book. So I picked this back up again to try and remind myself of some of that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm reading a couple other little things too, but they're just kicking around my house. I didn't bring them. These were the ones in my bag. Yeah. I feel like I just talked really fast for 25 minutes. And I wonder if I should just like sit quietly here for another 10 so the podcast isn't only 25 minutes long. What do you guys think? Again, wish you could answer. Much more used to talking to other people. Not so much this whole talking to myself thing. It's great. What else could I talk about? I'm going to cough again in a minute. Yeah. I think I will wrap it up. I think I will. It's because I straight up cannot think of anything else to talk about. So I'm curious to hear if you guys thought this was a decent podcast. And if you don't mind that I speak a mile a minute and that my face goes red and that I cough because I have a little cold and that I have too much lichen and lace, like just tell me if there's any problem with this at all, and I don't know, I could take the lichen and lace you have off your hands. That'd be really nice. Yeah, I'm gonna try and do this every once in a while for some reason. You guys can ask me questions. Okay, sorry. So yeah, why don't you guys, if you guys want to, so you can comment on the post that I'm going to post on Instagram once this is posted. And I am going to have it on YouTube as well, and you're welcome to comment there. There won't be any show notes for this one probably because I didn't really direct anyone anywhere. If I post anything, I'll just have them tagged. Yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. I should do like a section where people ask me questions about things. I would love to do something like that. Part of the reason why I wanted to do a podcast is to get a little bit of back and forth between people. It's hard. Comments are hard to respond to every one of them. So I want everyone to know that I'm reading all of them and that I'm paying attention, but having a way that's sort of like this for me to talk to people and to hear your guys' stuff would be really lovely. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn this thing off. Welcome. Thank you for watching my first podcast, The Wrong Side Podcast with Sylvia McFadden. Okay, bye.